Hey everybody, this is Bongo John at Bongo John Studio. I'm going to walk through recording an idea from the get-go. I have no idea what I'm going to record. Just as an idea, so you can kind of see, I'm typing in the session name here, and it's going to be keyboards, and today's date, 09/27/21. Okay? And we're going to create a session, and then we're going to go here, we're going to toggle to this window, and I'm creating an instrument here. I'm adding an instrument, and we're going to creating contact, and adding contact. We have a plethora. So I'm going to scroll down here and use this little fellow here to scroll more effectively to the grandeur, which is a piano, as you can imagine. It's already loaded, and then we're going to select this little photo box and concert hall. Alright, so now we have alright, so effectively we're going to close that. That's in the background. We're going to record some MIDI. We are in 4/4 time. The click track might be a little loud, so we're going to adjust that. It's at 127, which is max. We're going to set it to about 80, something like that. Okay, now we're going to record on our track an initial piano idea. Alright, so I'm just going to do something very simple. Less is more, right? Alright, so there's that basic idea there on the piano. So we're going to go in here to the MIDI and tighten it a bit, because in the genre that I'm working with, I want it to be with timecode to footage to match kind of the idea precisely, you know. So we're going to zoom out a bit. Right, when we get that MIDI, we have velocity and sustain information here, which we're going to make the visuals for that a little bit more navigable. So, and we're going to rewind to the top, or you can use this is Cubase we're working with, Cubase 11. So I'm going to select all those notes, and then I'm going to go and quantize them, and then we'll listen back and see how that is. Alright, that works for me. If it works for you, it works. Then I'm going to take this idea, put it on grid mode, as you can see there, so that this snaps in place, and just loop it twice, just to have it, you know, kind of looped. So because I quantized, when I go to beat 1, no notes are missing when I move that over, and that's good because we want to copy that whole progression, and we may just simply loop it twice, but maybe later change some of the dynamics of velocities, maybe change a couple notes on it depending on what I lay over this. And that is our next step. So what we're going to do now, first we're going to go here and create a MIDI track to point to the initial track, right? So we're going here and we're going to add strings, okay? Strings 1, we'll just call it that. And this is, as you can see, is created a MIDI channel. This is MIDI channel 2. And we are going to open contact again, which is still on channel 1. This is the output of the piano. It's controlled by the MIDI on that channel, channel 1 and MIDI 1. We're going to go in here and create a generalized string part. Okay, so now I'm scrolling down. I'm going to session strings 2. These are all native instruments. So and I'm going to double click that. Now we have this. It's opening up. Come on, buddy. Alright, so that's loading, and then we're going to go to this page and change this output, stereo output, to the second stereo out, which is, we're going to create that, activate that output. You have to activate outputs in Cubase in order to mix your separate instruments. Alright, so we've got this already set. We're going to go here to this contact right there and activate outputs for channel 2 as stereo 2, which is left right stereo out. 3 and 4 technically, but it's actually it's the second pairing of stereo out. So now we have so I'm just going to experiment. There we go. Idea is recorded, and now we have that idea, and because the string sound, it's a little bit of a delay, right? When I hit the F, or each key there's a little bit of a delay, so I am not going to quantize that because I want it to have a more natural feel, right? Except for maybe the first note, so that if I want to duplicate it, it's not going to cut it off when I paste it in there later. So we're just going to quantize the first note, right? So we're not deleting anything when we duplicate it, and keep in mind that it really depends on what you are scoring to and how all this works. I have no footage right now to work with, so I'm just creating kind of a scratch idea for a possible client that they hear it and they go, oh, well, that could work for this passage of running through the forest or the wilderness or something, or horizon, sunrise or something, or sunset. So I'm just experimenting, and if you happen to be a filmmaker out there, you hit me up and let me know what you want. So I go here, and now we have that's nice. It's sounding pretty pocketed as far as what I'm going for. But I'm actually wanting to add a little bit of reverb to the track for the strings. Notice the strings are on this track. And the piano is on this track. Right? So we go here, we're going to go to our inserts. And we're going to add, I have Mercury Waves bundle and some fanciness, as far as plugins, but you might have utilize just the reverb that comes with your DAW. So now we have this. Now there's something a little obscure about this part here, which means that I did not paste it properly. It's a little bit early, so this is going to slide over to there. Now we're good. So this is, we're on the second half of the copied section. Right. Turn off that damn click track for a second. Right. Alright, so you think, oh, that's all fine and dandy, but maybe we want to have a little bit of some percussion or something like that. A little bit, or a pulse, some kind of pulse that gives it more movement, right? So maybe we'll start not with percussion, but what we'll do is we'll create kind of a string ostinato in the background in addition to these strings. So we're going to go here, rewind, and record. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So that's all I needed to record, because I'm going to keep that going throughout on this other section. We're going to go in here and actually quantize all of that. That's very important to keep the track in time with everything else. So we're going here, and then it's in grid mode, so we're going to kind of slip that in there, and we're just simply, and I think it'll work well with that other harmonized part, or the part that goes up on the strings on the initial track. We're just going to go in here and listen to it. Now notice that the strings are a little out of time. We're going to make sure they're in time, and the thing about it is that sometimes you have to move MIDI a little bit off of the grid in order to get it to work right. So, as the click track is off by itself without the click track. Now we've got that MIDI, right? We're going to take those MIDI, we're going to glue these tracks together. So that, we're going to use the glue tool. And because it's out of time with the click track, we need to save our project. So we're going to go with keys 092721. That's the date of this recording. And we're going to zoom in, and we're going to take this off grid, and we're just going to barely pull it back and see how that sounds. So that's pretty close. It's not exact. And some plugins, like the strings, they'll have a little offset. You can set the rhythm to offset to match exactly your click. So some plugins don't have that. So now we have that. Now we're going to add another track. We're going to go in here. We're going to add some percussion. So we're going to go to Sign Percussion, if I can find that. Here we go. And we're going to add a bass drum. I guess, yeah, a concert bass drum might be nice. Or we can go with, yeah, we're going to add a concert bass drum. A 28-inch concert bass drum. So, and that's already loaded. And we go in here, we're going to create our MIDI track. Bam, bam, bam. We're going to point to it. Oh, remember, so Action Strings needs to actually route to ST3. right? And session strings, I think is going, yep, ST2. This is ST3, right? And then we have this, which is going to be ST4, which hasn't been actuated yet. And we're going here and activating the output for the bass drum, right? And I'm assuming middle C will work, but oh, oh yeah, that's pretty huge compared to the rest of everything else. I guess that's what we want. I don't know, but I'm going to probably EQ some of the sub frequency out. That's a bit much. I mean, come on. Well, hey, bass. Oh, can go. Da-da-da. Don't just stand there. Bass. Here we go again. All right, now some humor. That took a little while trying to dial that bass drum in, pardon. So we're going to quantize that because I want it to be in time, very much in time, so entirely in time. So we'll quantize it. Now it's in time. You don't want to do that to all your tracks though. You want to give a little breadth, a little freedom to be a little off, because that's human, man. You know? You don't want it to be, we're going to actually remove that front end note possibly, or actually we're going to cut it so that we can copy that. We're going to cut here, and then we're going to copy this, copy it, and then go over here, paste it here, and bam, zoom out and paste more. Just to, you know, oh, that actually works. Okay, so we're good. That's for the, you know, this brief moment of music here. You think, oh, that's really laborious just for that amount of music. But, you know, sometimes it gets that way. Sometimes it's real tedious. And other times it flows like nobody's business and you're able to. But as you build your track, you know, having a basic progression like I had earlier. And then I think I'm going to add... some other, maybe a woodwind or something. So we go here and don't press that X. We want to go with that. And we're going down here. We go woodwind ensemble, right? We're going to use the generalized woodwind ensemble patch, where you can go with flutes or just oboes or just clarinets or bassoons or bass winds, however, and orchestrate that a little more. But for now, we're just kind of starting out with this idea. So I'm gonna experiment. You know, it's trial and error. You know, it's all about getting the track right. So, and it would be all based on the footage that I was, you know, viewing at the time on that screen right there, that I would be writing for. I may not want to keep that fifth note. We're going to probably get rid of that because it doesn't work well going back into the progression. So go here, and then because these are pretty darn close as far as the samples and you know, I'm gonna go here and quantize that. See how that sounds. Okay. That bass drum is just super dang loud. I notice that it's peaking like crazy over here. I mean, it's unusable in my opinion with that kind of low end. It's just booming badly. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna roll out that. More like that. Now, even that's still too much. Now, I'm not saying copy and paste is the answer. I'm saying that if you're wanting to work, you know, eventually you do copy and paste some phrases. Other things are, you know, played throughout. So if you can afford a full orchestra, a symphony to play or score for a film, it's a multi-million-dollar project. Of course, it's going to be arranged and everything is, you know, there's no copy and pasting there, really. So there might be a little bit, I don't know. So we have these 3 or 4 tracks now. We have here the original piano, right? I'm going to label that piano. I think that's piano. Pretty sure it is. Go here. So, yeah. So sometimes when you start later in the sequence, it'll trigger oddly for the. So this strings, this is generalized strings. So we'll call it gen strings 1, and then this is our. I'm gonna solo that for a second. It's kind of like violins, but it's kind of more in the viola area, I think, a little bit. So, viola rhythm, RHY1, right? So it's good to label your tracks. You know, we got this track. Here's the bass drum. Bass drum 1. And then we have here woodwinds. Generalize gen 1. Okay, so the piano is a bit dark, so I'm going to go to here. Had a little too much low end for everything else that's going on. It needs to be brighter. So I'm actually going to EQ out right there. Woodwinds are a little bit overpowering too, so now I'm doing a little bit of mixing, as you can see here. So we're going to play it back. We're going to actually go to the other window for a moment and start here. So we're going to actually close this out for a second and then expand this out so it's nice and even. So now I have an idea as far as a melody. This is really kind of a progression. It really depends on the passage, what you're dealing with. Might want to create just a theme to resume your work to someone else, you know, to be able to kind of show what you can do as a background track. but we might want to add a melody of some kind. So we're going to go here, which you've probably been wondering, when is it going to add a melody? Hey you. So I go here, and then I'm going to save my work, go here, and then we're going to add like a flute. I think a flute would be nice. So, basic ideas applied as far as simplicity of the track. And because it's a flute, I'm not wanting to quantize so much. I might want to go in and just kind of barely quantize, soft quantize. There we go here, and just barely quantize it, right? So we go here, and now we have. Of course, with any kind of given visual footage that you're working with, you don't want it to stay at one tempo necessarily. You want it to follow what's going on with the action or emotions, possibly. It depends on what you're going for in the film. So in here, this is all locked into 120, right? So if we go here and we're going to add a track known as a tempo track, we're going to go here, and then we note that, of course, we want to change it up. So we want to grab this tempo track, trying to pull it up here. Yes, and we got this on the very top. And you may want to do something depending on, certain notes and certain phrases to match up with the footage, or not match up, depending on the emotional content and visuals. So we're kind of go here, but we're going to use ramp to gradually increase the tempo, right? Here, and then just to kind of give it some dynamic. And then of course there's reductive mixing to take into consideration of tracks that you don't want in the mix the entire way through. You don't want a wall of sound unless it's the finale or something. So we go here, and then I'm going to raise this and then kind of go like this and just do that and just see what that sounds like. But if there was footage, it would be on this screen, and I would be, of course, coordinating all of that. So to start here, we have. Sense to me, since I don't have footage to work with, to have the flute kind of pop into the mix a bit later on the second half. So we're going to copy that. We're going to paste it here instead and remove this, and then we got to bring that front note back in. So then it would be like this. So. You get the idea, right? As far as working on basic ideas, and this is the process that I go through for all of the other ideas that I've put together on my website, on my music page at bongojohn.com/bongo-john-music. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It's just, kind of gives you the inside scoop as far as what the sweetness is and applying to the music and the magic, having fun with it. So hope you all enjoyed the video. Take care now.